Hey, it's Scott Benton here. I am talking to Bre Berris. Bre Berris is the Director of Growth and Alumni Services, and she works at Chi Phi National, located outside of Atlanta, Georgia. She is in Austin, Texas right now, working with Chi Phis out there. And I'm just going to ask her a couple of questions about where we are in terms of getting USC Eta Delta Chi Phi back on the row. How are you, Bre?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Good to see you. What can you tell us just a little bit about yourself before I launch into my litany of questions that I've written out?
Awesome. Yes, absolutely. So as Scott said, my name is Bre Berris, and I am the Director of Growth and Alumni Services for the fraternity. And so what that means is that the first part of my title, the growth part, is that I am in charge of all of our expansion efforts. So from identifying schools that we're interested in going to or returning to making the contacts and the initial presentations with the schools, to recruiting once it's successful that we are going to go, to recruiting the first group, to then working with them through their colonization period, all the way through chartering, and then actually supporting the group for a year or two after chartering before they transition over into our member services department. And then I pick people up on the other side of the spectrum and work with all of our alumni. So it's a really exciting position. As Michael Azarian, our executive director, tells me on a daily basis, I have the best job in the fraternity because it's the most fun, and I agree with that on a daily basis. And so it also works very well that I work with both the starts and alumni, because we really could not expand and grow if it wasn't for alumni. So it's great that I have the connection to both pieces of that.
Awesome. Well, you're obviously very busy, not just with our house and your efforts to get us back on the row, which in talking to you, I know you've done quite a lot of work for us so far, and we'll probably continue to do so. I know that you're currently working, I think, on the application. I know that your hands generally are full, not just with our house, but with others. But why don't you tell us right now, what is the latest status of getting the USC chapter of Chi Phi back on the row? Where are we?
Absolutely. One of the things that I've learned actually in the last year and a half that I've been in my position is really the power of relationships and forming that relationship, and the difference between what it means for a school to get an application from us that is from just a fraternity, or a fraternity that they've developed a relationship with, that they understand and they have a background and knowledge coming into it. And so, of course, with Eta Delta at University of Southern California, there is a history. I mean, you all have been there. You had a wonderful presence there. But it's getting the school to relearn who you all are and what you all are bringing to this. And so, really, the last several months, and honestly, it's been longer than that we've been attempting to get in front of the school. But in the last several months that we've gotten in front of the school, it's been building that relationship. Really learning and getting to know Beth Saul, who's the director, and Ray Carlos, who's the associate director. And getting to know them and where the school is now. The school is at a very different place than it was when you all left. And so wanting to understand the culture and, making sure that Chi Phi is a fit for that. So right now, I would say where we are is that we've made a lot of progress. We were, invited to spend some time on campus at the beginning of February. That week started with Michael Azarian and I traveling to USC and taking both Ray and Beth to lunch, and just really, talking and learning about the community through them. Then on Wednesday and Thursday, I actually spent a day and a half on campus meeting with their students, really just sitting in their Office of Greek Life and, talking to students as they came in to learn what the community is like. And so I think that's a great place. We really showed that we are very invested and interested in returning. And so right now, what we're actually waiting on is them to officially open for expansion. As of right now, they are not open. So they are not accepting any applications or anything other than what we're really doing, which is just showing our interest. And I think that's a big thing, for all of us to understand, is that we're, just waiting to see, when that day is that they open. And then, Scott, like you just mentioned, the application that we're going to be working on in collaboration with both us and you all as the alumni, we're going to be working on in the next couple of weeks. And so the hope is that they will officially open by the end of the semester, and then, we'll be submitting for that. And so it's, finding the balance of making sure, of course, that they see that we are eager and ready and, excited about presenting and about proposing, Chi Phi's return. However, realizing that they also have a lot of other things going on campus. And so, managing that partnership and relationship with them.
Excellent. And so what do you think is different now at USC? What is different than, say, 10 years ago? I've heard it said that we really have much more ideal conditions right now to get us back at USC. What are those ideal conditions, and what's different now?
It's hard for me, of course, to answer 10 years ago because I wasn't on staff. But, I think for us right now, USC is at a place that they're looking to open for expansion. They feel that this is a very good time for them. They have a wonderful community. If I learned anything from spending 2.5 days really, with the campus and with both the professionals and the students, is they have a very student-focused, student-run community. They have a lot of autonomy that they give to their students, and that's an awesome thing to be a part of. And so their students want to grow. Their students want to continue to welcome organizations into their community that are going to challenge, the status quo right now to be a better place. And so I think it's just, this is a time to where they're excited about growth. They're excited about that being something that they add to their plate. And so with that, that's why right now it's just a really good time. I think, again, it's those relationships. I think, us being able to get on campus for the alumni, them to see the alumni, see that, the commitment and eagerness of the alumni. All of these things are just finally, lining up, and they have been for the last 6 months. And, we're going to really continue to take that, as far as that we can go to hopefully be returning to USC here in the upcoming years.
That's great. It's great to hear that, and your enthusiasm is definitely infectious. You may have already just answered this question, but I have my list, so unfortunately I have to dogmatically go through my list and ask you these questions officially. But is there anything different at now? I know that you weren't perhaps there 10 years ago, but is there anything that's different at national as well? So, our planets are all starting to align. We have the USC planets, and we have the Chi Phi National planets in Atlanta, Georgia. Is there anything necessarily different in terms of the expansion plans maybe at Chi Phi National? What's different now that's setting us up to get us back again at USC?
Well, it's funny that you bring that up because actually we're about to release the spring edition of the Chouquette, and there is going to be a 4-page article about what is different.
Cool.
Because we are an entirely different organization.
Yes.
At the beginning of the 2000s, Chi Phi was at a place where it might close, and it might close its doors. And to know, we were at a budget deficit. We were not, we really just weren't doing a lot of things right. And, over the last 10 years, with Mike Lazarian being our executive director and hiring and getting the right people in that care, that genuinely care about Chi Phi and where we're going, has just been everything. And so It's been, we've really recreated the organization. And I think, if you ask people ranging from the staff members in our office to professionals at schools where we have Chi Phi chapters to even, potential places where we're going to expand, they see that Chi Phi is doing things right. And we're really, challenging the fraternal movement to be at a better place. And so, we have a wonderful staff. We have a staff that actually, brings very unique things to the table. One of the best things, especially because this being a case allowed me to have my job, is that we don't just hire Chi Phis. We hire the best people for the job, be that a non-Chi Phi member that's a male, be it a female. We hire the best people for the job, and that has been a really exciting thing for us because we can bring in a lot of different perspective and viewpoints to the table to really make sure that what we're doing and what we're offering is the best thing. And so, we're at a place to where, we used to have to almost beg for expansion sites, and now, we have, I mean, the sky's the limit as far as where we're expanding to, and we're getting some very exciting expansion opportunities coming along, and going to some really known big name schools. So it's a great time to be Chi Phi, and I have the privilege of spreading that word and really helping us expand. And so it's been a really fun year for me, because it's my job's actually easy because of how good of a place Chi Phi is at right now, that it's very easy to sell what we're doing within the fraternity.
Right, exactly. Well, we're so happy to have you, and I want to get Michael Zarian. I want to do an interview with him. He's a little hard to pin down, but I'm going to keep trying until I'm able to get him on our little interview cam. Well, you mentioned expanding at other universities, and I know right now you're working on the UCSD chapter of Chi Phi. And how are we doing at that campus right now?
Well, we were selected as an expansion finalist against 4 other fraternities. And so I guess about 10 days ago, on February 27th, Michael and I were in San Diego presenting to them. The whole process went very, very well. They had very positive things to say for us. So right now we're just waiting on a final result. Fingers crossed, everything is looking, very positive, that we would be the fraternity that is selected to expand there. So really, a huge focus on continuing to establish our presence on the West Coast is huge importance to us right now. So hopefully that will be a school that in the next year or two we'll be expanding to, and fingers crossed and stars aligned alongside of USC.
Very cool. That's great news, and we'd love to have our guys work with those guys as well, and maybe build up our team a little bit. I have just 2 more quick questions for you, and then we can sign off. I know you're busy, and you probably want to get back to the Austin, Texas group. Let's see here. Well, we had a question from Eric Struve. He was curious about the physical structure, about the house. He wanted to know, ideally, are the plans to have National own a house at USC, or would the university, USC, own the house?
I know as of right now, and the way that everything works with Chi Phi is that we do not have a national housing corporation, and so we do not own any of our houses. Any houses that are owned by Chi Phis are owned by Chi Phi.
I see.
So by the alumni, but not by the national office.
Got it.
And so really at this point, it's either, alumni associations buy their house, or, school provides houses.
Right,
so,
right.
I don't know, because that's not our number 1 priority as far as returning.
Okay.
Is that, housing structure. So I don't know exactly where the school is with that, if there's, available real estate, or, is there renting options? Is there, the potential to buy? I don't know.
Okay.
And, also by the time we get back to USC, we may have a national housing corporation. You never know.
Okay, cool.
So
that would be great.
Right now, it's not us.
That would be great to see. And I think Michael Coates has mentioned on our page, on our Chi Phi page, that he does want our alumni association to own the house ideally, and that's the direction that we're going in. The last question is, what does National need from us, the alumni group? What do you need from us in order to help us get USC Chi Phi back on the row?
I think, again, it is, just continuing to develop yourselves as an alumni group that, really is interested in returning and, being the support to this group once we return. Realizing that right now, I think we're all doing wonderful things. So going back, one of the biggest things that a school will always ask when we go to propose to, be the next fraternity on the campus is, how are you different? With USC, they have 21 organizations on campus. So how are we going to be different than the 21 organizations that are already on campus? And realizing the difference between something that we say we're going to do and we're going to do to get those men initially, and then something that we're going to able to sustain over time. Those are, I think, 2 very different things, is having an idea, but also making sure that idea is tangible for, continued existence. And so I think it's right now kind of working on, we know what we offer as Chi Phi, but what with having as many alumni and as, alumni that are all ready and willing to be a part of this, what is the difference? And I know you all have some ideas on that, and so I think it's continuing that. And I think the biggest thing I will say is that is needed in like tangible support ways, and more interactions than anything. So what is your plan on, that interacting and that touching, and being in the room and being present, and how we're going to be able to provide services there. So I think it's maintaining your enthusiasm, maintaining your excitement. It is, when we're able to be in the area, it's getting you all together to continue to develop the partnership with us. I will be in the area the second week of April, so hopefully, seeing a lot of you all then. And, just continuing to maintain everything that we're doing, and that, we are a partner in this together, and that, both entities, along with USC becoming a partner in this conversation too, is going to be the only way we can successfully return. And so it's really all about partnerships.
Awesome. Well, Bre, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much for having this conversation with me. Your energy, your enthusiasm, your excitement about USC Chi Phi is infectious, and we hope to continue to build that momentum. And maybe we can occasionally check back with each other and maybe post an update as things progress. Maybe as we turn in our application, or whenever we reach that next hurdle that we jump over. So thanks so much. Enjoy Austin, Texas. It's a great town. Say hello to all the Austin Chi Phis from the California Chi Phis, and we'll talk again soon. Okay.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, Bre. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.